Today's video, we're going to be checking out the DC Collectibles DC Icons Figure 24 Nightwing. To figure out how tall Nightwing is, let's grab the tape measure. He is actually exactly 6 inches in height. He actually comes with a considerable amount of accessories, one of which being, of course, his tried and true Escrima sticks. He comes with, of course, his pair that can be held in his hand. Not currently, because out of packaging, his fists are molded shut. Don't worry, though, he does come with actually 2 pairs of different interchangeable hands. One of which, let's see if I can actually grab, well, they're slightly different, but one of which are hands that are kind of slightly posed straight up, in which you would be holding the Escrima sticks straight up like this. He then has a secondary pair of hands where the sticks or the fingers are slightly on an angle, kind of giving you different ways that you can have him holding them. Some nice paint done on the other side, as which they've been added some very nice shiny blue paint, quite like that. And to go ahead and change out the hands, simply just grab the forearm here and wiggle out the hands. Find, of course, the hand that fits the right socket. Thumbs go in afterwards, after all. And grab the other end, wiggle that off, and pop the other hand in place. I like the variations of hands that they incorporated for Nightwing here, because it gives you slight, different ways to tweak how he holds the Escrima sticks. So we'll go ahead and slide those into his hand, like that. And again, you can see how one is slightly on an angle. This one kind of has the fingers slightly spread from one another, or slightly fanned out. Actually, you know what? We'll keep them in his hand because they look pretty cool. The other thing that he comes included with is a grapple rope, complete with a Nightwing equivalent of a batarang on the end there. It is just a simple cord with a weighted plastic bottom to it. Both the Escrima sticks and the grapple rope, there's actually no place to put on Nightwing, as there's no hooks, there's no, holsters, anything like that. But likely, much like I'm sure what I'm going to do, you're likely probably going to be displaying him with those in his hand anyways. Okay, let's go ahead and take these out of his hands, because then we can spend a little bit more time talking about this figure. I quite like this figure. One of my big problems when it comes to DC Icons figures is I find generally while the majority of the figure's bodies are pretty good, I find the face sculpts let the figure down. This might be one example in which the mold has been broken, so to speak, by giving us a pretty good face sculpt of Nightwing. Slightly angled down hair draping over top of his Nightwing mask. The flesh tone is pale, but it's still passable. It doesn't look too sickly pale. They painted in his lips, and of course given a very nice sheen to the black paint incorporated into his mask and his hair. I like the contrast of varying color sheens, in which like his body is more of a matte black, but then given this very vibrant, not so much vibrant color-wise, but something that certainly stands out with the very shiny black plastic, the paint that they've added to the boots. That, as well as the Nightwing logo or decoration that fans across his torso, is also given that really nice shiny blue paint. I do quite like that. The body mold is traditional looking DC Icons. It doesn't really look like there's much in the way of varying change of sculpt. In fact, it looks like it's the same sort of body mold that we got with perhaps the Green Lantern or even Aquaman. But I do like it. I think everything kind of comes together nicely on him. And he also breaks the mold by being a figure that actually stands properly. He doesn't have the toppling over issues that I've also had with some of the other DC Icon figures. On the underside, he's got peg holes on the feet, or the sole portion of his boots. Not to say that he necessarily needs a display stand, but I always kind of thought to myself, I don't know why the DC Icons figures never came with really cool stands. If this was going to be, likely not, but if it was going to be the premier kind of line for DC Collectibles, it'd be neat if they had actually incorporated stands, where you could have had something on a placard that would have said Nightwing, and a really nice default stand. It wouldn't have to necessarily be the exact same, or varying stands from character to character. It could be the exact same stand. But they have not done that. And again, it's perfectly fine, because Nightwing stands okay. He doesn't have any real issues when it comes to his standing. Posability on this guy is the same as what one would expect to find with other DC Icons figures. A ball joint in the head. Let me also just say too, I guess it's not 100% a perfect figure, as there is a slight varying color palette between like the coloring of his face and the coloring of his neck. The neck is slightly a different shade, and you can clearly see where it looks like it's been painted over top of black plastic, whereas the face likely was molded in the more flesh tone plastic. You may not necessarily see that, so again, it may not be something that's going to probably bother you all that much. Universal joints on the shoulders. The arms rotate all the way around. It's a little on the stiff side on this particular figure. I don't certainly mind that. A swivel on the bicep. Double hinge on your elbow. Rotation also on about the mid forearm area. And he's also got a rotation and a hinge on whatever hand you decide you want to display the figure with. Bring the camera back a little bit. There we go. He's got an upper torso ball joint. He's got a lower or mid torso crunch. And then he's got a ball joint on the leg. Now, similar to other DC Icons figures, you can also drop the legs down, which also gives you just enough gappage that you can bring the legs out a little bit more so than what you would with the legs being in their conventional placement. And then simply bring those back up. And then you have, you just have, it doesn't look like he's got a big gap showing. Double hinge on the knee for Nightwing. Also got a swivel point on the boot, and he's also got a rock back and forth, or ankle pivot back and forth, and he's also got the ankle rocker as well. A lot to like on Nightwing here. A fairly simplistic figure in the sense of his paint applications, mostly just an all-black costume figure, but he's done right. His face sculpt is good, and the paint is generally pretty clean, just shy of the neck that we had a look at. I really like this figure. I like it almost so much more than maybe some of the other DC Icon figures that I've looked at. Maybe looking at him versus, say, the likes of the original Batman, the original Superman that was released. I think this guy does things a lot better for a much more simpler looking design. Good job, Nightwing. Good job, DC Collectibles. Today we were having a look at the DC Icons. This was figure 24, and this was Nightwing. By the way, if you guys are interested in picking this guy up for yourself, you can find him at your local comic book store. Can't find a comic book store in your area? What? That's okay. You can head over to www.comicsshoplocator.com. Either put in your postal code or your zip code, and you'll be able to find a comic book shop in your area. That's what I did. That's how I found the comic book store that I go to on a regular basis, was Comic Shop Locator. And no, I'm not sponsored by Comic Shop Locator. If you guys also haven't had a chance yet to subscribe to this channel, hit that little button that's just below this video that says subscribe, and you'll never miss a beat when it comes to future videos. Gonna get some more DC Icon figure reviews out there as well, so if you guys like to see those kind of things, don't worry, more videos will be coming your way. And also got a playlist for previously looked at DC Icons, should you want to go back and check those out as well. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.